Mga atit mga kuya, welcome back to Kuya Puto's channel. I know it's been a while. I got busy. I had stuff to do left and right, diba? But today, we are driver sweet lover. Just dropped off the missus. She's conducting her thing. And unfortunately, I'm stuck dito sa parking lot. Naghihintay. Anyways, I just came back from Tim Hortons. I ordered a cappuccino. And napansin ko, ba't ganun? Tama yata yung sinasabi nila sa social media. Halos lahat ng mga empleyado dito sa Tim Hortons, mga foreigners, mga international students. Ano nga ba meron? Bakit nga ba nagkaganito? Ano ba ang rason? Medyo controversial to, but that's what we are going to talk about dito sa episode na to. So guys, bakit nga ba lately dito sa Canada, anytime pumunta ka sa fast food, sa mga coffee places, sa grocery store, or pag nagpapadeliver po kayo ng mga Uber Eats, ng mga DoorDash, the majority, hindi po lahat but the majority ng mga empleyado ng mga nagtatrabaho are either international students or foreigners. Ano na nangyari dun sa mga Canadians? When I say Canadians, I mean usually mga puti or other ethnicities na mga kabataan na dito na lumaki or dito pinanganak, mga ganun, right? Dahil marami nagko-complain, lahat daw ng mga trabahong yon napunta sa mga foreigners and international students. So medyo controversial tong topic na to. But everybody is talking about Tim Hortons, Burger King, KFC, yun. Ano pa nga ba? Wendy's, Church's Chicken, grocery stores, yung mga delivery drivers. Alam nyo, hindi po natin na maiiwasan na makita yung mga foreigners at mga international students na tinatrabaho yung mga trabahong yun because unfortunately, pag naglanding yung mga taong sila, that group of people, pag naglanding po sila dito sa Canada, kahit po meron silang skills dun sa pinagmulan nilang bansa, hindi po nare-recognize dito agad, right? And yung po mga choices nila, extremely limited. And no big secret, over the past 5 years, or a little bit, there was an influx. Canada opened up its borders, so nagsidatingan sila, right? So they have to work. Kaya nangyari po, there's a big competition for these entry-level positions, these entry-level employments, right? Kaya kalat po, as in kalat po sila. They're everywhere. There's no avoiding that. But saan ba nag-umpisa to? As in, saan ba nag-umpisa to? Fortunately, I did find this video clip sa online. And I'd like to share it with you to give you an idea kung saan nag-umpisa to. Okay? Let's watch this and hopefully it gives you a better idea.
Right, so my parents, they came to this country with so much hope and so much ambition. Just like every family, they wanted to make a better life for their family, but they couldn't get a job in their field, right? Because people at that time didn't understand their accent. They didn't like their accent. People didn't like their skin color. They didn't like their food, right? They didn't like how it smelled. They didn't like how they smelled. And there was so much racism at this time, right? It was almost like the politicians were using racism to divide people so that they could get votes, right? And so my parents, as many immigrants tend to do, just had to settle. And so they got jobs at Tim Hortons. And they loved it. And they worked hours, like the craziest hours imaginable. Like I never saw them as a kid. We never spent any money. We never went on vacations. We never went to restaurants. They just worked and worked and worked. And they even got promoted eventually, right? They got promoted to assistant manager and manager. And they actually ended up buying their own Tim Hortons. And this completely changed my family's trajectory because we went from like the hood to living a nice middle-class suburban lifestyle. And so if you wonder why your kids can't get jobs at Tim Hortons, it's because we own your Tim Hortons. And see, because y'all never hired my parents for the jobs they wanted, they were forced to find their own way. And so maybe, my Canadian friends, it's time for you to be forced to find your own way. instead of complaining on social media, right? Figure it out. Figure it out, Johnny. Figure it out, buddy.
Nung pong araw, ganun po talaga, unfortunately. You know, I'm talking 1980s, like, throughout the 90s, maybe even early 2000s, right? Karamihan po ng mga foreigners na dumadating dito, yung choices po nila as far as careers and employment, very, very limited po. So, they started to take all of these jobs that nobody really wanted. At that time considered not as desirable, right? Because they had no choice. And over the years, nag-sacrifice po sila. Because that's all they could do. That's the only option they had. And karamihan po, they excelled. Sabi po nung tao dun sa video, right? Yung parents niya, hindi sila makakuha ng ibang trabaho na gusto nila. This was the option that they had, only option they had. So they had no choice but make the best out of it. And that's exactly what they did, And over the years, blood, sweat, and tears, time sacrifice, they were able to figure it out. They got promoted. They figured out the business in and out. And eventually, they bought the business. Naging sila ang mga may-ari. Mga ate at mga kuya, I have amazing news. Kuya Puto is now a proud member of the Talentado CA team. So ito pong channel natin, Kuya Puto's channel, is open for collaboration. So if you would like to link up with Kuya Puto, please contact Talentado CA. Sila po nagmamanage everything. As far as social media, YouTube, Facebook, all the other platforms. So kung content creator po kayo and you need help boosting your channel and you need help with any aspect when it comes to social media, contact Talentado CA and join the team. Mababait po sila. Mababait po sila. So yes, thank you very much, Talentado. Let's go back to our regularly scheduled program. This is Kuya Puto out. And ngayon po, I'm not saying all, but there's a good portion of all of these franchises that we see. Tim Hortons, KFC, Taco Bell, Wendy's, even grocery stores. There's a good portion or percentage that are owned by a very, very specific ethnicity that Kuya Puto is not going to mention. Okay? And if you go back to the video again, kung pinanood nyo na mabuti yun, makikita ninyo na since sila po ang may-ari ng mga karamihan, hindi po maiiwasan na i-hire nila ay yung mga kalahi nila. This is not a new practice. This is a very old practice. Matagal na pong nangyayari to. It's just, ngayon, marami pong focus doon sa one specific ethnicity dahil there's a lot of hate online. There's a lot of bashers online. And you know what? Lahat po ng lahi dito sa Canada. Merong mabuti, merong mabait, merong salbahe. Let's put it that way, right? And this one specific ethnicity is placed under a negative light dahil of social media. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost guaranteed, yung mga nakikita natin sa social media na hindi ka nais-nais na nangyayari that are, featuring this one ethnicity, it does not represent the whole entire ethnicity. It does not represent the whole entire culture. Sigurado ko, just like anything else, it's a small percentage of the community. And since yun po ang napapakita sa social media, that's what the people end up believing, di ba? It's unfortunate, but that's the power of social media. That's the power of the internet. That's the power of publicity, di ba? So, Kuya Puto, tama ba yan sinasabi mo? Yung hiring practice na yan, matagal na? Totoo. And it's not just with them. It's with pretty much a lot of the ethnicities out there. Dahil kung business owner kayo, you spent all that money, you spent all that sacrifice, you spent all that blood, sweat, and tears to establish yung negosyo ninyo. Sino i-hire ninyo? Yung kilala ninyo ang work ethic? Or are you gonna take a gamble with Gen Z? Dahil typically yung mga employment positions na pinopoint out sa social media that are taken up by foreigners and international students are called entry-level positions, right? And usually yung mga positions na po yun, back in the day, they were occupied by mga kabataan ng Canada, or residents, or people that grew up here, right? Usually sila yung nag-occupy ng mga positions na yun. Ngayon, parang nabaliktad. Everywhere you go, it's typically, for the majority, either international students, foreigners, or yung that one ethnicity that we're not going to talk about. Okay? So, going back to what I was saying, kung business owner kayo, you spent all that blood, sweat, and tears, all that sacrifice, all that time and effort, all that money. Wouldn't you want your business to be successful? And in order to have a successful business, you need people. So, sino i-hire ninyo? Okay? Yung kilala nyo ang work ethic, or somebody that you have to take a gamble on? So, siguro, kaya nangyayari to, kilala nila yung kalahi nila. Alam nila yung work ethic ng kalahi nila. Plus, at the same time, hindi po maiiwasan na gusto siguro nilang tulungan yung kalahi nila. I'm not defending this hiring practice. By all means, I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is naiintindihan ko po. Dahil everybody does this. Pumunta kayo sa pizza store owned by, like an Italian person. More than likely, bihira po kayo makakakita ng mga foreigners na nagtatrabaho doon. Pumunta kayo sa Portuguese churrascaria. You know what a churrascaria is? Yung mga Portuguese po, mahilig po sila magbenta ng mga grilled chicken, yung mga steak on a stick, meat on sticks, mga ganon. Usually, mga empleyado po, mapapansin ninyo, mga kalahi din po nila. Karamihan, at least. Karamihan. Not all, but karamihan. Okay? And mga Pilipino, tayong mga Pinoy. Okay, tayong mga Pinoy. You don't have to go far. Pumunta kayo sa Seafood City. Okay? Everybody knows what Seafood City is. Look around you. Tingnan niyo yung mga empleyado. Daming Pinoy, di ba? So, we're guilty of that too. And the same can apply to all of these other businesses that I just mentioned. And at the same time, like I said, I'll say it again. Hindi po maiiwasan na gustuhin natin makatulong sa mga kabayan natin. And ganun din po ang ginagawa nila. I'm not defending it. Okay, I'm not defending it. I am just sharing my observation, and I'm just saying that I do understand it. Unfortunately, guys, dito ngayon sa Canada, yung mga kabataan, they get a bad reputation. Not all, but a good portion gets a bad reputation with employers. Dahil yung pong attitude nila pagdating sa trabaho, yung pong mga behaviors nila pagdating sa trabaho, hindi po consistent para yung negosyo umunlad. Totoo nga ba yan, Kuya Puto? This is my observation, okay? Sa trabaho ko po dati, napansin ko, when we hire young Canadians, they always complain about, oh, I have to work weekends? I don't want to work weekends. Magko-complain sila, oh, when's my break? When's my break? Or, hey, how come this person is getting paid more than I am? Or, oh my God, that's against my human right. Or, hey, etong customer na to, hindi ko gusto itsura. Or, yung supervisor or yung manager na yan, hindi ko gusto itsura. There's complaints left and right. There's headaches left and right. And scheduling becomes a nightmare. Availability becomes a nightmare. And quality of work becomes a nightmare. Versus the people that we hired that are not from Canada originally, iba po yung work ethic nila. As in, they understand that this is an opportunity. So they give it 110%. Okay? They understand that maybe their choices are limited. So they make the best out of the opportunity that are given to them. Diba? So they show up for overtime. They never complain if it's, I gotta work weekends. They actually like working weekends. They never complain if, their break is late. They never complain about the amount of pay that they get. If anything, they're so thankful. They're so thankful. The work ethic is 110%. There's no issues with scheduling. There's no issues with behavior. There's no issues with quality of work. So isipin nyo guys, if you're an employer, sino pipiliin ninyo? That's probably why, or not why, that's one of the many reasons why ngayon, if you enter an establishment, like a fast food place or a coffee house or a grocery store, karamihan po ng mga empleyado are non-Canadians or non-residents or the ones that did not grow up here. When typically back in the day, sila po ang the ones that used to occupy these positions, diba? So that's one of the many reasons why. Is this hiring practice acceptable? Is this good for the economy? Is this good for people? I am not one to say. Okay? But as a business owner, I truly believe na kung merong employment opportunity available, it should go to the best candidate. So hiring should be based on experience. Hiring should be based on personality. Hiring should be based on the best candidate that can perform all of the duties that are listed for that specific position. And it should be based on qualifications also. Okay, not just because, kalahi kita. Not just because, I'm Canadian. Not just because, I grew up here. There's so many different factors, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of those franchise owners that own these businesses that hire foreigners and international students and, other people, they have their own reasons. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. All I'm saying is we should respect that because they are the ones that made the sacrifice. They are the ones that paid the money. They are the ones that put out the effort to establish this business, right? So they can run it however which way they want because this is their baby. Just respect it. And hopefully, it does get better. And it will get better. Let's make Canada great again. So sana naman po natuwa kayo kahit konti dito sa short video clip na to. And if you have not subscribed sa channel natin, subscribe naman kayo so we can grow this channel as big as we can. This is Kuya Puto wishing you good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you is in the world. Stay hungry, stay humble. Keep your hustle strong. See you. Now.